Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo for the moment. We are awaiting Dede Woodson and Michael Bullock. If they do come in, then we definitely will update on what they thought about tonight's show. If we don't, then we'll see them on Sunday night for the Payback pay-per-view recap. Oh my God. What the hell did we just witness at the end of the show tonight? Man alive. All right, we got a lot to talk about. But first off, we started off with a backstage thing. Vince McMahon putting Adam Pearce through the ringer, telling him that he needed him to get the contracts signed for the triple threat match for the Universal title on Sunday night at Payback, I should say, and that he wanted all three to be done tonight. All right. So with that said, we started the show off with a promo. It was AJ Styles and the new Intercontinental Champion, Jeff Hardy. They went back and forth. It was pretty good. I think it was a solid segment. Led to the first match of the night, which was Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. The winner of the bout in 13 minutes even, and still the Intercontinental Champion Jeff Hardy. But before anything else could have been done, we had ourselves a big surprise. I guess you could say, the quote unquote, the real Intercontinental Champion has returned. Sami Zayn is back on Smackdown Live, and he has his version of the Intercontinental title. Now, remember, Sami Zayn never lost the title. I don't know if he was ever stripped of the title. Sami Zayn left didn't really leave the company, but was put on the back burner, never was really used, and a lot of people were wondering, well, the belt is vacated, and then you know how the tournament played out. AJ won it, Jeff got it, but technically, Sami Zayn is making claim that, hey, I'm the real champion. I'm the true Intercontinental Champion because A, the belt was never stripped from me. B, I never technically lost the title in any way, shape, or form. And C, because of stupid politics, color me surprised on that, all this hugabaloo about the Intercontinental title, and the real champion's me. I'm the true Intercontinental Champion. Not Hardy, not AJ, not anybody. I'm the true champion. And he just laid Jeff Hardy out, and Hardy's still nursing an injury. His knee is not at 100%. So, I mean, we'll wait and see what happens. As far as the IC title match, this was a very good match. Very solid fight. 3 star. I'm gonna give this about 3.5 stars. I thought it was a very good opening contest inside of the Thunderdome in Orlando, and this was a great jump off to SmackDown Live. And right at the start, it was already better than Monday Night Raw, like hands down. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio. I mean, there's a lot of layers that we need to divulge, but my goodness, Lame Duckman is back, and he's laying claim that he's never lost the title, which technically he never did.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, you're absolutely right. He never did. So there's that. What was the time of that fall again? Did you have it?
13 minutes even.
Oh wow. Okay. That would constitute a 3.25 to 3.5 star rating for the match, no question about it. And something about the combination of Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura just works. They don't exactly have similar styles, but there is enough in common for them to always put on good matches. AJ Styles was more angry than usual on commentary. and it was a little distracting at times. Other than that, he did a good job playing the antagonist, especially when he was reading Jeff Hardy, the Riot Act. It was a little odd that Cesaro was not there to support his tag team partner, but WWE might be quietly breaking them up if there are plans for either of them in the singles division. This was a good first half hour of the Friday Night SmackDown, especially with the return of Lame Duck Man, Sami Zayn, and it will be fun to see the eventual title versus title match. But Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn, I mean, I don't believe they've ever squared off. So you put those two together, that's got potential. But remember, AJ has a say in this as well. So I can't rule out a possibility of a triple threat, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Or maybe AJ gets the winner. I don't know. But all in all, one of the top fights of the night for sure. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. So really nothing more to say. So Didi Woodson, Mr. Lame Duckman's back. What do you say?
Ugh. Yeah, he's back and annoying as ever. Um, there is one little rule that WWE sometimes seems like they forget to follow, and that's that every title is supposed to be defended within 30 days. And that was why he was supposed to have been stripped of the title. But now all of a sudden, here we are again. It's not the first time this has happened where we've had people with two of the same title. So here we go again. We're repeating a storyline that's already gone through. So yeah, there's a possibility it could be a triple threat, but right now we just have to deal with the fact that Duck Boy here thinks that he's the champion when he shouldn't have any say in it since he wasn't around to defend it. Yeah, it was because of COVID, but still, he wasn't around to defend it for that 30 days, and the show must go on. You have to keep things moving. So they did. They got a different champion, and they've progressed on. Now all of a sudden he's back, and he wants to pick up where he left off, and you really just can't do that. So as for the match, I agree with the rating. I'm not going to say anything else, but I think y'all covered most of it, so it's yours, Fletch.
All right, and then unfortunately, this is a very rare moment for SmackDown, but we did have a cutout as it was Matt Riddle versus Chad Gable, and Matt Riddle won the match in a minute and 30 seconds, so we totally bypassed that. Next up, we had was the Golden Role Models. The Golden Role Models cutting a promo, interrupted by Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, the competitors that will be facing off with them on Sunday night for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Anthony, the segment is yours. Bailey is really getting too big for her bridges. Took a couple of shots at Sasha for failing what happened. The looks could kill moment brought out, and I think I think we know what the outcome might be on Sunday night.
Well, we'll address that elephant in the room in just a little bit when we preview the Payback pay-per-view. But nonetheless, fantastic segment here. I mean, the signs have been there for months. Sasha and Bailey are very likely going to break up, and if Jax and Baszler win on Sunday, Payback might be the last time we see the Golden Role Models. Their chemistry as partners is great, but they have always been better opponents. If they lose on Sunday, I fully expect Sasha Banks to not only be the next challenger for Bayley's SmackDown Women's title, but I also fully expect the boss to dethrone and end the record run of dominance for Miss Bayley there. This segment did a decent job pushing their title bout at Payback, considering they are building a feud on a week's notice. So, really, not much more to say on this. We'll address it more in a little bit, but solid segment here, no question about it. And I know if Bullock was here, Bullock would be loving every minute of this. So really, nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, Trouble in Paradise for the Golden Role Models, and Sunday night could be the breaking point.
Yeah, you catch the backstage segment, and Sasha was talking about how there's some people that are only good for tag teams, and if you zero in on Sasha, she had that look then too. So, and she seemed like she was pretty disgusted as they were walking towards the ring, and then you get out to the ring, and here goes Bayley again, putting her foot in her mouth. Um, so yeah, definitely Trouble in Paradise. You know, Naya and Baszler may have lit a fire under Sasha, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to continue this friendship much longer, because we know where it's heading, and every week now we're getting more and more signs, and this is probably the biggest one we got tonight on how big that ego has gotten and how much someone needs to go out behind the woodshed and get taken care of. So yeah, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The segment was solid. It was good. Like you said, she put the foot in the mouth once again, and it looks like it might come back to haunt her. Maybe Sunday night. We'll have to wait and see. So next up, unfortunately, another cutout, as it was Braun Strowman going up against Drew Gulak. Braun Strowman destroys him in a minute and 45 seconds. Well, here's the reason why this happened. Pierce wanted to get Strowman to sign the contract and everything else for the triple threat match. And, they wanted someone to get his attention. Well, Drew Gulak, basically, Adam Pierce told Drew Gulak, why don't you do something, and why don't you make your decision, and, something that could get Strowman's attention. Well, next thing you know, bang! A chair shot to the back. Gulak runs, and Strowman's looking like, who the fuck? What the? Okay, that's it. Now you just really pissed off the monster among men. So Adam's like, well, I need you to sign this? Yeah, let me deal with my business first. I'll sign your stupid papers later. So he destroys Gulak in a minute 45. Then Adam Pierce again shows up. He signs the contract. Done deal. There's only one man left that you need to sign, and that's Roman Reigns. Now, during the Firefly Funhouse earlier in the night, we never talked about this, but earlier in the night, during the Firefly Funhouse, you could say there was a vignette and whatever. They had Adam Pierce dressed up as a post office worker guy, and at that point, he actually had the Fiend some way somehow got him to sign the contract to make it official. So the Fiend is signed, Strowman is signed. There's only one guy left that needs to sign, and that's the big dog, Roman Reigns. So we'll wait on that. But until then, the next match that we had was Cesaro versus Kalisto. Cesaro wins the match in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And I guess you can say more trouble in paradise for the Lucha House Party, because Kalisto got into it with Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik about what happened. You guys sticking your nose where it didn't belong. You were fighting with Nakamura. That got me distracted. And you cost me the match. Dee Woodson, if you want to talk about it, we can. If you don't, then we could just move right along.
I'm not going to talk about the match because the match was worthless. But yeah, there is definitely a dissension in that team as well. I think we're about to see it implode, just like we are with Bailey and Sasha. So yeah, they it didn't make any sense. Why did they come out and attack Nakamura? I mean, he wasn't really involved in the match, and they can't disqualify because they didn't attack Cesaro. So there's just really no reason for it other than explaining what happened in the back. So yeah, not much more I'm gonna say. I'll toss it back to you.
All right. So we're just gonna move. Anthony, I guess you don't want to talk about it, or do you want to?
Actually, I will talk about this.
All right, go right ahead then.
2 to 2.5 stars for the effort. Kalisto and Cesaro are not capable of putting on a bad match. They were able to put on a fun encounter with just a few minutes in the ring. Both of these men are elite performers, and that is why they always look great, even if they make a couple of mistakes along the way. The growing dissension in Lucha House Party is clearly leading to a breakup. Kalisto will likely go his own way, while Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik will remain a tag team. Simple as that. Move on.
Right, next up we had was a backstage moment as it was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Nikki was trying to give Alexa a gift with Tamina there, and Alexa wasn't having it. She was not happy at all. Broke the mug, slammed it on the ground, left everybody in a state of shock. Finally, Adam Pearce got to Roman Reigns, left the contract so that Roman could just read it over. And it led to the main event of the evening, which was Heavy Machinery and Big E versus Sheamus, John Morrison, and The Miz. The winners of the bout in 11 minutes and 45 seconds was Big E, Otis, and Tucker. They win it. I believe, Dee, you lead off on this?
Well, I kind of let off on the last one, so
All right, then
you
I'll
can lead
take. No,
off.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I didn't know for sure. This was second best fight of the night. I think this was an all right match. I think there was really nothing bad to say. I mean, this was an okay close to the fight card, and I'll give this about maybe three. 3 to 3 and a quarter, 3 stars, solid 3 stars. So I really got nothing else to add. So I thought it was pretty good. So nothing more to add, gentlemen. And Anthony, I give it to
Yeah.
you.
Second best fight of the night here. I'm going to give the IC title match the fight of the night honors by a smidge. This was your usual 6-man tag match. Both teams got enough time for everybody to look good for a couple minutes, but nobody really stood out. The hot tag to Big E led to an entertaining rampage for a few seconds, but Sheamus leaving is what led to Miz and Morrison's downfall. It's great to see WWE committing to Big E's push and giving him a series of wins. If he keeps going like this, he might be challenging for the Universal Championship by the end of the year, if not next year. So keep an eye on that. I mean, you got a sleeper talent there, MF. So that's all we can say on this. So about 3 to 3.25, I guess, would be the correct rating for this. It would be the second best fight of the night. So that's really all there is to say on this. And now, MF, we're about to get into probably the most shocking thing we've seen in WWE in the world of WWE/F, going back to WrestleMania 17, the ending of WrestleMania 17, if you know what I mean.
Right at the very moment or at the close of the show, especially tonight, as well, we were about. Oh, Dee.
Oh wait, Dee Woodson. Dee Woodson didn't give her thoughts on the 6-man. Dee, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I definitely agree with the rating. Um, but my thing is tonight.
All right.
My thing tonight is it seems like all the tag teams were breaking up tonight. We've seen a lot of dissension between a lot of the tag teams. We had Cesaro and Nakamura arguing in the back. You've got, Sasha and Bailey. You've got, the Lucha House Party. Now we have Sheamus walking out on Miz and Morrison. Just a lot of people getting angry and all this dissension going on. So, yeah, it's just a lot to filter through. But yeah, I definitely agree with the rating. This was definitely a great way to close SmackDown match wise. So it's yours, Fletch.
Okay, now we get to the point of the show that was the shocking turn of events. So basically, what happened next was literally going on. So we were expecting maybe a big. Sure enough, oh yeah, a big bomb was dropped. Roman Reigns. What on earth is so all of a sudden Roman Reigns signs the contract, and the next thing you know, you see him basically hanging out with Paul Heyman. This makes no sense whatsoever. Stunning moment at the end of SmackDown Live. And the IW needs to go heel. You got what you wanted.
MF, you're cutting in and out. I I don't know if you're there or not, but I believe I take this for a spin here. Oh my goodness. This is probably the most shocking thing we've seen, like I said, in WWE/F, going back to the end of WrestleMania 17 when Stone Cold Steve Austin aligned himself with Vince McMahon. We all remember that. Um, wow. But first off, seeing Adam Pearce being used more as an authority figure lately has been awesome. He is somebody a lot of fans don't know, but he is a legend among fans of indie wrestling. Ask good old MF Michael Fletcher. He can tell you stories on days about him. Seeing him as the postman during Wyatt's segment brought back memories for me of Pee Wee's Playhouse. The real meat of this journey happened during the last few moments. The reveal of Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman being aligned was shocking. These are two men who have been at each other's throats during the big dog's feuds with Brock Lesnar. So seeing him with Reigns was a big twist. Time will tell if this is a permanent union or if Heyman will ditch him as soon as Lesnar returns. Until then, it'll be very interesting seeing Roman Reigns have a mouthpiece and a manager like Paul Heyman. I mean, and somewhere, yes, MF, the IWC are definitely breaking out the balloons and the party hats, as I always say, because they have been wanting, begging, pleading, clamoring for a big dog heel turn for the longest time, and well, they got it. So we'll definitely get more into this in just a moment when we do the Payback preview, but for right now, I don't know what else there is to say except Dee Woodson. This is the most shocking thing that I've seen in this business since Stone Cold aligned with McMahon at the end of WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, I had a feeling when he was saying that little speech at the end, where he's was talking about what it wasn't just a prediction, it was a spoiler. the guarantee and all that kind of stuff that Heyman always says. When he started doing that, I'm like, oh no, not Heyman. No, not Heyman. Sure enough, it's Heyman. Why are we putting Heyman with someone who has the mic skills to talk? They may not be the best mic skills in the world, but he can go out there and he can cut a promo. He doesn't need a mouthpiece. Doesn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. As far as the postman get up, for me, it reminded me of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where you had Mr. McFeely coming in, as the postman. But that's really showing my age. So yeah. The show in the whole, great storyline progression. Not a whole lot of building for the pay-per-view, but we did get a match out of it, which was Riddle and Corbin for the pay-per-view. We got the little thing going on for the contract signing, and then you had the little segment with Bailey and Sasha and Shayna and Nia Jax. That's about all of it you got. They didn't really go over the card too much. I think they went over it maybe once or twice, but most of it, though, was storyline building and then whatever you want to call this storyline thing with Duck Boy who's back. So, yeah, not much more I'm going to add. So it's yours, Fletch.
Sorry about that, guys. All right. Yeah, this was. I guess we can go into overall rating. I mean, not the greatest SmackDown in the world, and I mean, look, there was a lot of matches that weren't really that great. I'm gonna openly admit that. There was a lot of cutouts along the way, but there was so many good stuff. The first half hour was great. The main event was fine, and the closing angle is what everybody's going to be talking about tonight. Roman Reigns is heel. He's a Paul Heyman guy. That's the biggest takeaway from tonight's show, and it's really going to put a major scope on it heading into the next pay-per-view, into the pay-per-view on Sunday. So, I mean, solid show. Well done. I could give this about maybe 6 out of 10 because I'm going to praise for the beginning, praise for the end. Maybe a little thing with the Sasha Bailey, that women's promo, but the rest of it was totally forgettable. So I mean, it was almost similar to Raw a little bit, but not by much. I mean, at least at least SmackDown had something very entertaining at the beginning, very good at the end, but the middle was kind of not so great. It was jumbled up, I think is the best word to say it. All right, Anthony Floyo, I'll give it to you, man. It's all yours.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Mainly because of that surprise factor at the end. If it wasn't for that, we would have been talking maybe 5.5. But we did have two quality matches. The Intercontinental match with Hardy and Nakamura, the 6-man tag with Big E and Heavy Machinery against Sheamus, Miz Morrison, that was fine. The women's segment was solid, and we did have a couple of cutout matches. I'm glad we're seeing that on this show. I mean, I don't have to feel bad about my show, Ridiculously Raw, which originated it, but it is what it is. But yeah. Outside of the Paul Heyman reveal with Roman Reigns, this felt like a show thrown together on the fly that served little purpose. It's incredibly hard to book competently and confidently when you're dealing with fallout of one show and trying to hype another for this weekend already. There were two major pluses tonight. The aforementioned Heyman reveal, and the continued tension building between Sasha Banks and Bayley. The rest of the show was not only forgettable, much of it was downright bad. Main event seemed to serve no purpose. I initially assumed it was going to be to set up a retribution angle, but it didn't, for better or for worse. Jeff Hardy and Nakamura had a very good Intercontinental match. Sami Zayn's return was fine, but doesn't feel like it's going to impact the show in a discernible way. Strowman's character is senseless. Bray Wyatt's lost, and the midcard in general continues to flounder. SmackDown appears to be on the upturn only because of the injection of Roman Reigns, but they'll need to book him strongly to keep that going. And meanwhile, any positive effect the Thunderdome had in week 1 seems to have returned to neutral. So that's my little nitpick there. But other than that, solid stuff. So 6 for me. I agree with MF's projection there. So there's nothing more to say except MF. Let's get to our next pay-per-view preview. Man, we're going to be doing a lot of these over the next couple of weeks. I mean, we got this tonight and then AEW next week. So MF, let's get started on our Payback preview here.
All right, and very small fight card for the Payback pay-per-view. We start off with Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. This was kind of thrown together. There was very little promoting on this one, so I'm going to make it short, sweet, straight to the point. I got Matt Riddle knocking off King Corbin. I really got nothing more to add there, so Anthony, it's yours.
Did Didi give her overall thoughts?
Oh,
Kinda, yeah.
Do you want to give more, or do you just want to move right along?
Just move on.
All right, fine, no problem. Riddle wins. Florio, go.
Yeah, my apologies there because what happened at the end of tonight's show, just really, excited me to the point where I can't even think straight. So I do apologize to Didi for the bypasses there. I do apologize for that. It's out of excitement more than anything else. So my apologies for that. Now, WWE seems committed to Matt Riddle as a top-tier player, and if that's the case, then you don't have him lose his first big pay-per-view match. There could be plans to extend this feud through shenanigans by Corbin, but I just don't see it happening, and I hope it doesn't happen. An angry Corbin trying to continue to pay off people to take out Riddle after a loss just makes more sense. So I will go with Matt Riddle to win this match. I agree with that, MF. So, Didi, will we make this unanimous?
Yep. It's unanimous.
All right. Sweet, straight, and right to the point. All right. Next up on Monday Night Raw is a return match from Raw, a tag team match. Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio versus Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins. Anthony Florio, it is all yours, my friend.
Very simple here. There's a point where the Mysterios need to pick up a win to keep this moving forward. Seth Rollins has tormented Rey Mysterio in every way imaginable, including removing his eyeball at the horror show at Extreme Rules and brutalizing Dominic as Rey sat by helpless and handcuffed to the ropes. Then the Mysterios were left to be attacked by Retribution at the end of Raw Monday night. There has to be a moment where the Mysterios get a victory, or else there's nowhere else for this story to go. Even though this Monday night on Raw, we will see Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio one-on-one in a wrestling match. No IBS, none of that nonsense. We're going to see those two have a straight-up wrestling match. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's got show stealer potential, let me tell you. And that's excuse me. I think more than anything else, that could be the shot in the arm that Monday Night Raw so desperately needs right now. So there's nothing left for me to say on this. So winners of the match, Rey and Dominic Mysterio. So Didi, I got to give it to the Mysterios, and then we'll see what happens when Rey and Seth go one-on-one Monday night.
I can agree with that. I think it's time that they walked away with it and kind of put Rollins in his place for 1 week. So it's yours, Fletch.
And I totally agree. Unanimous decision. I'm going with the Mysterios as well. All right. One-on-one match. Keith Lee, the Limitless Keith Lee, goes up against the Apex Predator, Randy Orton, one-on-one. Dee Dee Woodson, it's all yours.
This seems like a pretty interesting match that they've put together with these guys. So, um, as much as I'd like to see Keith Lee walk away with it. I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to or not. So more than likely, it's going to be Orton. So I hate to do it that way. I'd love to see Lee walk away with it and get this push and be over on Orton. But I have this big feeling Orton's going to come out on top. But if he doesn't, I won't be surprised and I won't be upset. So it's yours, Fletch.
I gotta go. I'm actually gonna disagree with Dee Dee Woodson, and I'm actually gonna go with Keith Lee. WWE has made it very clear that they're gonna make a monster push for Lee since he made the main roster. They're very high on him, so why not give him a big monumental win and knock off Randy Orton? Plus, I think because of the McIntyre situation, I think McIntyre is going to want to get another shot at Randy Orton, give him a piece of retribution, for no pun intended, for what's going to happen. So I'm going to go with Keith Lee to knock off Randy Orton. I don't think they're going to bury Lee. I don't think they're going to feed him to Orton for him to bury him that quickly. I think Keith Lee gets a big win here. They might make Orton strong in a losing effort, but I got Keith Lee winning. So I got nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
There are few worse possible decisions than having Keith Lee lose here. If he's going to be a player on the main roster, he should not be dropping matches yet, even against Randy Orton. There's an easy path to victory here with Drew McIntyre helping Keith Lee steal the win. That is an issue in its own right, with Lee, quote-unquote, needing help. But it's the best route to go to protect everyone involved and continue building toward the eventual Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton WWE Championship rematch. And from what I'm hearing, they want to save that for the next pay-per-view, which will be Clash of Champions on September 27th. I'm hearing they want to do the rematch there, which makes a lot of sense. So nothing more to say. I agree with you, MF. I got Keith Lee only because our champion will make sure of it. So let's move on.
All right, next up on the fight card, for the United States title, Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. I'm going to go with Apollo Crews. I think Apollo Crews is going to successfully defend the title here. I just don't see how he loses this. I mean, he just dismissed MVP. Why would you let him lose the title to Bobby Lashley? I don't think that would make any reason. I think they're going to want to continue the storyline with them and the Hurt Business unless Cedric does the long-awaited heel turn that I know a lot of people were talking about, but I don't see it happening. Winner of the bout and still United States champion Apollo Crews. Anthony, go.
I don't know, MF. I mean, but credit to WWE for booking Crews strong during most of his U.S. title run. But if he's just going to run through the entire Hurt Business, what's the point of the group? Crews outsmarted Lashley in the arm wrestling contest, beat MVP twice clean, and now faces the man who nearly took down Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship a couple months ago. I hate to say it, but I think Apollo Crews' reign ends here. So this is a reluctant choice. I wouldn't be surprised if Apollo won. I wouldn't, but if you want us to take the Hurt Business seriously, you got to put some legitimate gold on them, not that ridiculous 24/7 championship. So only because of them making us want to take this faction seriously, they need a serious title win. So reluctantly, I am going to go with Bobby Lashley and say Bobby Lashley will be your winner and new United States Heavyweight Champion. But I would not be surprised if Apollo won. So really nothing more to say. Dee Dee, your thoughts?
I agree. I think Lashley's going to walk away with it. So it's yours, Fletch.
2 matches to go. We're starting off with the women's tag team title match. Sasha Banks and Bayley putting the titles on the line against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
All right. I'm not crazy about the idea of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax winning the titles, especially when there are other established tag teams who I feel should be getting this opportunity. But it's clear that we're heading to Bayley versus Sasha, and leaving Bayley with the only title after their team held all the gold sets that up well. Meanwhile, Shayna Baszler sharing the titles with Nia Jax will only play into their feud. I can certainly see Sasha and Bayley retaining while still building the bigger issues as the teamwork between Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax falls apart. But I think this just feels like the trigger is getting pulled here on the title switch. So I'm going to say it here. Winners and new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Submission Magician, the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler, and the Irresistible Force, Nia Jax. So nothing more to say. Didi, I say we're going to have new champs, and I think the breakup of Sasha and Bayley gets pushed even further.
Yeah, I don't see them walking out of this with those titles. And then, of course, then you'll have the little jealous issue of Banks not having a title at all and Bayley still having a title. So, yeah, I think it's going to go with Jack and Baszler, and we're just going to see this downfall even more, and it's going to build up even more by the fact that Bayley just will not back up her partner the way her partner's backing her up. So it's yours, Fletch.
I agree. I think this is going to be a very good matchup. I think this is going to be a very good title match, but I think we're going to have new tag team champions. So I got Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax winning the gold as well, which leads us to the main event of the evening for the Universal title. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, puts the title on the line against Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, now with Paul Heyman in his corner in a no-holds-barred triple threat for the championship. Didi Woodson, who do you have? Who do you believe will walk out of here the Universal Champion?
Oh my, this one's really kind of hard to decide. But it seems like what they're doing is they're trying to go back and right a wrong that they did because Roman had to step out for the whole COVID thing. Because from what I'm hearing, he was supposed to have the title against my mind just went
Goldberg,
blank.
Bill Goldberg.
Yes, Goldberg. My mind went blank. I'm sorry, but yeah, he was supposed to have gotten the title against Goldberg. So more than likely, Reigns will probably walk out with it. I know that'll make Wyatt a paper champion, but there's just so much going on with the Wyatt, Strowman, and Bliss storyline right now that we kind of need to take the title out of that picture and just focus on that with those three and let Reigns move on with the title, even though I can't stand Heyman, but oh well. He's here now. We just got to deal with it. So for me, I'm saying new champion in Reigns. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree. I think Roman Reigns is about to win the world title. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say it: winner and new Universal Champion, the big dog, Roman Reigns. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, it's going to be Roman. There's no question about it. I mean, before the Heyman thing, I was initially leaning towards the Fiend, retaining, but I'm sorry. He's going to be he's going to have to be a transitional paper champion here. I mean, WWE had a huge opportunity to rethink and retool the Reigns character when he courageously returned from his battle with leukemia, not just in terms of how it booked him, but also the look of his character. And while it did find some restraint by not booking Reigns in the title picture for months, the goal was ultimately to put him over at WrestleMania. with Reigns pulling out amid COVID-19 and now back, WWE could feel the need, and probably will feel the need, to book him back into the position they planned him to take 4 months ago. And I know there might be some that will hope that they show similar restraint, considering Wyatt just won the title at SummerSlam. This is a triple threat match, and the champion does not have to be involved in the finish to lose. And it would behoove WWE from a booking perspective to build a longer, drawn-out feud with Reigns chasing Wyatt. But now, with Paul Heyman, now the mouthpiece and manager of Roman, as we saw at the end of tonight, how does Roman not win the belt? How does that not happen? It would not. It would make no sense whatsoever to have Roman come out of this without the title. So there's nothing left to say. MF, winner and new Universal Champion Roman Reigns, and with Paul Heyman by his side, he's going to be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he could. No doubt about it. Dee Dee, I know she said Roman. I say Roman. Mike Anthony says Roman. All right, so normally we would close the show, but I wanted to close the show tonight to pay tribute to Bullet Bob Armstrong. Bullet Bob Armstrong passed away last night, right at the point where we were about to sign off on this show, and Bullet Bob is passed away at the age of 80 years old, and his career was unbelievable. A big name in the wrestling, especially in the 1960s and 1970s, a revolutionary performer, and his legacy is through his family. From Scott Armstrong to one-time wrestler Brad Armstrong to the Road Dogg Jesse James, who and his wrestling family is a lineage, is a legacy that Bullet Bob Armstrong has left. Won multiple titles in NWA territories and multiple companies around the United States. Never really had a big success in WCW or in WWE. Was a part of if you remember the James Gang in Impact Wrestling when it was TNA Impact Wrestling. He was on there for a little bit of a time. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, let's pay our respects to a Hall of Famer in Bullet Bob Armstrong. It's yours, my friend.
Yeah, very sad indeed. First off, our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences to the Armstrong family, most notably his sons, Scott Armstrong, who, as we all know, was a referee in WWE for many years. Of course, Brian James, who we all best known as the Road Dogg Jesse James, and of course Brad Armstrong, who was a major mainstay on the old WCW Saturday Night. I mean, Brad Armstrong was on that almost damn near each and every week. I mean, I remember seeing Brad Armstrong a lot on Saturday night, watching that, growing up. And there was a Steve Armstrong as well. So, yeah, there were the four Armstrong sons. So there's that. Looking at his accomplishments here, yeah, he may not have been a big success in WWE or WCW or any of that, but in other promotions, he was. He was an NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, Florida version twice in Championship Wrestling from Florida. In Combat Sport Pro, he was inducted into their Hall of Fame class of 2015. Global Championship Wrestling, he was a GCW Tag Team Champion one time with his son, Steve Armstrong. His big success was in Mid-South Sports / Georgia Championship Wrestling. 4-time NWA Columbus Heavyweight Champion. A one-time NWA Columbus Tag Team Champion with Robert Fuller. 4 times he held the NWA Georgia Tag Team Championship. 3 times with Robert Fuller and once with Dick Steinborn. A one-time NWA Georgia Television Champion. 3-time NWA Macon Heavyweight Champion. 6 times was the NWA Macon Tag Team Champion. 3 times with Bill Dromo, and once apiece with Paul DeMarco, El Mongol, and Argentina Apollo. 1 time NWA National Tag Team Champion with his other son, Brad Armstrong. 1 time he held the Georgia version of the NWA Southern Heavyweight Championship and the Georgia version of the NWA Southeastern Tag Team Championship 4 times, twice with Robert Soto, once with El Mongol, and once with Bill Dromo. NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Champion twice, and 3 times was the Memphis version of the NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion. In NWA Tri-State, he held the Tri-State version of their North American Heavyweight title 1 time. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, PWI ranked him number 272 of the top 500 singles wrestlers in the PWI 500 in 1995. And in the PWI years in 2003, they ranked him number 155 of the top 500 singles wrestlers. Southeastern Championship Wrestling, another big success here. CWF Tag Team Champion with son Brad Armstrong. 3-time NWA Alabama Heavyweight Champion. 4-time NWA Southeast Continental Heavyweight Champion. 8 times held the northern version of the Southeastern Heavyweight Championship. 1 time held the Southern Division Southeastern Heavyweight Championship. An NWA 6-man tag team champion, Southeastern version, 1 time with his sons, Brad and Steve Armstrong. 8-time co-holder of the Southeastern Tag Team Championship, Northern Division. Twice with Robert Fuller, twice with Joss DeLuke, twice with son Brad Armstrong, once with son Steve Armstrong, and once with Ken Lucas. NWA Southeastern Tag Team Champion, Southern Division with Robert Fuller, and a Southeastern Television Champion 1 time. Southern Championship Wrestling was the SCW Heavyweight Champion, USA Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, and last but certainly not least, took his rightful place into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2011 with the likes of Shawn Michaels, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sonny, the Road Warriors, Abdullah the Butcher, and celebrity inductee that year, Drew Carey, just to name a few. But yes, MF, you're absolutely right. I do remember when he interacted with his son Brian James with the James Gang and Billy Gunn, and I remember all the hijinks they had in the NWA TNA, definitely, and so many wrestling legends have shown their support on social media. One of the first was Natalia. I know she showed some love to the family, and other prominent talents. Chris Jericho, he paid his respects. The Iconics paid their respect, and Drew Gulak. I mean, right on down the line. It was reported. MF reported it at the end of our show last night when, as we were signing off, it was Impact Wrestling that broke the news, and yeah, there he is, 80 years old, and like I said, our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences to the family, especially the 4 sons. I don't know much about Steve Armstrong. I don't really remember him, but I do remember the other 3. I mean, like I said, Brad Armstrong, like I said, a major mainstay on WCW Saturday Night. He was on that almost every week. Scott Armstrong, of course, from when he was a referee in WWE, and the one, of course, obviously the one I know the most, and we all know the most, was, of course, the Road Dogg, Jesse James, Brian James. So we're thinking of you, and we thank you, Bullet Bob, for all your contributions to the business that is professional wrestling. And as I always like to say, thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Bullet Bob Armstrong. You will certainly be missed. Rest in peace, good sir. Nothing more to say. Dee Dee Woodson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Bob Armstrong, because a lot of this, a lot of him being in the business was long before I got into watching the show. But reading up on here, even before he became a wrestler, he was in the military. He was worked for the fire department in Cobb County. I mean, he's had a remarkable life and career even outside of wrestling, let alone in wrestling. And this is the type of guys that you want to honor, especially around Veterans Day and stuff. With the fact that they that he's one of the ones who was stationed in Korea when he was with the armed forces. I mean that, and all that stuff. I mean, these are the type of guys. You want to honor these guys too. They may not be working in the military during uh, a war or anything, but even during peacetime, they're serving the country. They're doing what they see fit, and even all his early life stuff and all the training that he did, all that goes into the kids. And that's what we've seen through each of the careers of his children that he's had. And like Floya said, we all know Road Dogg. We all know his career. And just think, he was trained by his dad, and and all this started just because his dad went to a wrestling match where he saw Gorgeous George. So yeah, I mean, this is this guy, he just he might come out of nowhere, but I mean, he started a legacy that nobody can deny, and a legacy that is going to hopefully continue on for years and years and years to come. So I'm not going to add much more. So Fletch, let's put a bow on it.
All right, and we will tomorrow night. Well, I should say Sunday night. We will do another edition of the recap of this event of Payback. And then on Monday night is Ridiculously Raw. And for all you hockey fans out there, tomorrow night will be another edition of the Bruins Beat, 10:30 Eastern, alongside myself and Michael Bullock, as we will recap what will be Game 4 of the Eastern Conference first round matchup between the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning. Um, the show has been postponed for a couple of weeks, but we will get back into it. So, for all of us here, for Anthony Foyo, for Dee Dee Woodson, I am Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great evening, and we will see you very soon. So long for now. Bye bye. God bless. And for all of us here, good night.